is not the best for sure, but I just wanted to check in and say hello. It's been a while since I've done a reading vlog, and that is what I'm thinking for today's video. I just wanted to check in real quick, kind of kick this video off, tell you what I'm reading, just tell you how life has been now that we have entered the summertime and I am officially off of school, which is so wonderful. I've been able to read as much as I want, which was really my intention for the time that I have off school for these next few months. So I'm continuing on with that goal. I want to just bang out as many books as humanly possible, probably try to write as well. I've been doing a little bit of that, but I thought I would just give you a little update for the book that I'm reading. I'm reading a couple right now, but the one I'm most excited about currently is I'm reading Anne of Green Gables. I've never read it before, which is nuts. I feel like this is just my kind of book. It's cozy, it's quirky, it's a lot of fun, it's a romp, and it's exactly what I wanted. Of course, now is the time that my neighbors decide to mow their lawn, so I apologize for that. I'll be quick. But a friend of mine gave me this copy and I love it so much. It's very well loved. The pages are soft. It smells good. It is such a welcoming book and the story is so beautiful. I am on page 134 already in chapter 14, so I'm already a ways through. But it is so much fun. I can't believe it took me this long to actually read the book. I'm not unfamiliar with the story. I've read Brenna Thumler's graphic novel, kind of I think it's abridging basically the events in this book and maybe the next book or two. I can't quite remember how much her graphic novel covers, but I read that last year. I loved it. It was so much fun. I've watched Anne with an E, at least the first few seasons. I don't think I watched the last season because it was during like midterms or something and I just kind of fell off of it for obvious reasons. But yeah, I love it. It's so much fun. It's so cozy and it's the perfect read for today because I stayed home from work and worked at home today. I'm not feeling very well. I definitely need something light. I definitely need something fun. So what I'm gonna try to do is I might try to go outside and read, although I'm not a big nature girl. I hate bugs. I don't hate sunlight, but my skin doesn't like it. I'm gonna give it a shot, and if it doesn't work, I'll just pop right back in here. If you have read Anne of Green Gables and you want to share your reading experiences, please don't hesitate to leave it in the comments below. I would love to chat with you because at the end of this vlog, the goal is to have finished this book. And considering every time I sit down to read it, I plow through like 100 pages, hopefully I'll be finished with it pretty soon. Maybe I'll even hop into the second book. That might be fun. So yeah, just wanted to give you that update really quickly before I go outside and do a little bit of reading. Also, real quick before I head out, I wanted to show you guys the bookmark I'm using. I think I've shared this before. I'm a huge fan of the Books Unbound podcast by Ariel Bissett and Raylene LeMay, and I'm using one of their bookmarks that they did with Coralie Bickford Smith. And look how pretty it is. It's like got the foil there that just glimmers. And I feel like it's such a happy thing to go with the book and it matches. And I think I heard on the podcast, they actually added these holes by mistake, but it kind of gives you the opportunity to customize them. So I put a little tassel on there, a little champagne colored one, and I think it goes really beautifully. This is my favorite bookmark right now. Just thought I would share. All right, we're outside. I'm on my front porch. I just set everything up. I got my chair out, made everything comfy. I put on a different shirt because I feel like the dress I was wearing was more conducive for working, not so much for being outside, romping around and reading. And I feel like it's something that if Anne were in present day, she would have worn, right? Hot off the grill. Also, real quick, I don't like bugs, so I'm gonna light a candle to keep, I don't think mosquitoes are out yet since it's still sunny, but I also have, I'm gonna light that, brought matches, and I also brought out some insect repellent. This is some, I think it's like natural insect repellent. My mom got it when Maxwell and I got married because our wedding was outside in our backyard, and it was in September and the bugs were pretty bad, and this did a pretty good job, and it smells good. We have lemongrass and we also have rosemary, and they both smell very good. I'm just gonna spritz myself real quick and pray that the spiders don't come for me. I like being outside and I like the happiness that comes from it, but not the bugs. That's not it. As long as you stay in your area, we can coexist. Coexistence. Stay over there. Stay there. Since I filmed last. I've been kind of struggling these last few days. I removed myself off social media, just what with everything that's been going on in the world. I really want this channel to be a happy place, so I'm not going to talk about it too much, but the Roe versus Wade decision has really disturbed me and has been weighing on me. So if you are like me and you've really struggled to function ever since that decision was made and released, then we are in the same boat. But something that has been keeping me going, I totally removed myself off of social media for the most part. I've checked back into Instagram here and there, but every time I open the app right now, my heartbeat starts to skyrocket. The same goes for Facebook. The same goes for, I very rarely go on Twitter, but I have to for work, and even through like my work account, it makes me anxious. So I found a lot of solace through my reading, and I thought I would just check in and talk about not just Anne of Green Gables, but also I'm reading The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. So I started reading The Night Circus because Books Unbound, I've talked about it a bunch. I'm a very avid listener. This is their book club pick for, I think it's a quarterly book club, and I think the deadline to read it and submit like voice clips for the podcast episode about this book is mid-July, so I'm really trying to crank through this before I have to go into July for the Summer Splash Challenge. So I also want to try to finish Anne of Green Gables before July. However, I do think if I don't finish by July and I finish this in the beginning of the next month, I could fit this into somewhere in the Summer Splash bingo board. And I'm thinking that my Summer Splash TBR will have already gone up on my channel where I talk about what I want to read. Anne of Green Gables is not on that TBR, but I can definitely find a place to fit it. And I think just kind of checking in with where I was last. I forget where I told you I was. I haven't read as much of Anne of Green Gables since we last talked. I've mostly focused on The Night Circus just because I have an audiobook hold that I'm reading along to for this. And this is very dense and I'm enjoying this very much, but it takes me a while to get through, and I'm also annotating. as you can see, I have quite a lot of tabs in there already, so this has distracted me from my Anne of Green Gables, but that does not mean that I am not enjoying this. This is truly magical. Every time that I've felt just sick the last few days and ill, this has really been my saving grace. This has just been such a safe haven for me, this book. I'm so thankful that there isn't just the one. I'm so happy this is a series. I forget how many books there are, but there's many books in the Anne of Green Gables series, and I cannot wait to just plow through them, because I feel like these are gonna be my safe haven for the next year or so, where if I go through a rough spot or I'm feeling anxious, I'll probably just start one of these books, and I have a feeling it'll make me feel a whole lot better. So that's my update with Anne of Green Gables. I am going through it slowly, but I don't think that's a bad thing. One thing that I kind of struggle with is I'm naturally a slow reader. I read audiobooks along with the books that I read in order to make myself speed up and get through more, just because if I spend like a month reading a book, I tend to lose interest, and then I just feel sad because I lose interest and I put it down and I start something else, and it's just this really wicked cycle. But because of that, I put pressure on myself for the longest time to read stuff quicker, blow through things. And I'm happy with the reading progress that I've made this year. I feel like I've read more this year than I have ever since I was in college, honestly. But now, especially with books like The Night Circus and Anne of Green Gables, it's nice to just take it out of gear a little bit and enjoy the ride, enjoy the writing, enjoy the story, because both the stories in these books are just fantastic. They're so well written. They're just so much fun, and I'm really happy to be reading them right now in this very trying time. I hate to sound like a cliche, but I feel like it's true. So I think that's my reading update for now. I will probably check in later just to kind of give you an update. I'm gonna try, emphasis on the word try, because this could be quite a lot of reading for one night, especially a work night. But I would really love to get to the next part in The Night Circus tonight, and that is about that much. It is 100, I did the math, it's 156 pages, and I really hope I can do it. I feel like if I really dedicate myself and dedicate the time tonight, I'll be able to. But yeah, just just to give myself a little bit of breathing room with this book, because if I get to here, then I only have to read this much in the 5 or 6 days that I have left with the audiobook before I have to relinquish it to somebody else waiting for it at my library. That would just throw off my whole TBR for July, which would be a horrible thing to happen. Like I said, for Anne of Green Gables, I could pretty easily find a spot for this somewhere in July. But you know, I have a timeline. I want to try to submit a voice clip for this for the Books Unbound podcast. I haven't done that yet, and that seems like a lot of fun. And it was sad too, because the last book that they discussed on the podcast was There's No Such Thing as an Easy Job. And I read that book and I loved it, and I finished it way before the deadline for voice clips. But I think I put too much pressure on myself, and therefore I just found myself to completely blank, and I didn't end up sending in a voice clip, and I was really sad about that. I really wanted to, but I just couldn't think of anything. So I'm taking notes this time. I am brainstorming. We'll see if I can come up with something good to submit for that book club. So those are my updates currently. I can't really think of anything else. Oh, except, I'm sorry, I have one more thing. my friend Maddie, who watches these videos, so hi Maddie, she invited me to be a part of her in-person book club, which I take part in a couple online book clubs, but I haven't been in an in-person book club in a very long time. I had something going with a friend there for a little while discussing books, but that was, gosh, that might have been over the pandemic in 2020, so that's almost 2 years ago. So it's gonna be so nice to talk about books with real live friends. It'll probably be over Zoom, but it's just, I'm really looking forward to that. So I'm adding another book to my TBR for July. It's Stiff by Mary Roach. It is not my typical genre of choice. From my understanding, it's a nonfiction book about Mary Roach's studies or experiences, I'm not 100% sure, but about what happens to human bodies when they're used for scientific experiments, and that sort of thing. I was looking at the Goodreads, and it seems like people are saying that it's really funny, so I feel like this is it's a far cry from being similar, but for some reason the reviews reminded me of what people say about Bill Bryson, and I really love Bill Bryson's writing, and I reread A Walk in the Woods last year, and I really loved it. I really enjoyed it, so who knows, maybe I'll like it, but nevertheless I will be reading that next month as well. And that is another book that was not on my TBR video, but could probably go into the bingo board as well. So there's at least 2 more books that I didn't mention that are getting tacked on to July. July is going to be a bit of a beast. I can already tell when it comes to my reading. But that's another bit of happy news that I thought I would share. So yeah, I'm probably gonna read a little bit and then make some dinner, maybe go exercise, get some endorphins going. I could use the endorphins, but it's also nice to just spend time outside too. Being on the porch and spending time outside has been another big solace for me these last few days, and I hope you're doing the same. I hope you're taking care of yourselves, going for walks, going outside, spending time reading, doing things you love. I think, sometimes that's the best kind of rest. We finished eating dinner. I have my post-dinner tea in this nice mug that I made with the sun and the moon on it. So before I started reading, I wanted to give you an update on a couple things that I have that I completely forgot about earlier. And one of them is my sweet husband, who buys me books because he works at a bookstore, got me the Anne of Green Gables graphic novel by Brenna Thumler, and it's adapted by Mariah Marsden. And I just love Brenna Thumler's art so much. And I have read this before. I read this last year, but after I finish reading Anne of Green Gables, I'll probably give this a reread. Just look how beautiful it is. I just love her art so much. It's so colorful. I feel like, especially now that I'm reading the actual story, it does a really good job of portraying Anne and her energy. Another fun thing about this edition too is look at this spine. It has Anne on it. That's so cute. Look at that. So fun. I read this digitally through my library last year, so I didn't actually have a physical copy in my hands when I was reading this, so I didn't get to see little details like that. Wanted to just give a quick update about that. And also, I just wanted to give a quick little shout out. I am a patron of Morgan Long's on Patreon, and the tier that I'm a part of, I get her prints and postcards every month, and I just wanted to show it. Look how pretty it is. 4 is this. This is June for June 2022. And look at how pretty the illustrations are. And the sticker that came with it is a little cardigan. And I'm trying to decide where to put the cardigan sticker. I might put it on, I have a notebook with all the stickers I've gotten from Morgan and Books Unbound and a couple other places I think I have on the inside cover. So I might put it here, or I don't know if it's waterproof. If it is, my emotional support water bottle has some stickers on it, and I feel like it might be a cute addition, but I don't want to ruin it if it's not waterproof. I have to decide. I don't know why I thought that was pertinent to share, but I thought I would anyway. So I'm going to start reading The Night Circus. I'm going to try to get to the second part by the end of tonight. If I do, I will be very happy, but if I don't, it'll be okay. I'm going to be annotating while I read. I like to make lots of notes while I'm reading this. So whatever I get done, I will be happy. But I thought I would let you know before I dip in. Alright, so I am finished reading for the night. I am tired. I'm going to bed. However, I did not make it to my goal of getting to the end of the part. It was probably a bit too, probably expecting a bit much from myself. However, I did get like halfway through. I started on page, I think I started around page 147, and I ended page 199, so close to 200, at The Magician's Umbrella. And I've been so enjoying annotating this book. It's so fun. Every page I feel like there's something important, or there's a description I love. So as you can see, I have my little annotation tabs, and what I've been doing are the pink tabs are things that I think are just nice and descriptions that I like and things like that. Blue tabs are when something big happens or an event that I think will probably be pertinent down the road. And then I started adding in the green tabs for relationship developments and that sort of thing. You can tell the assortment of sticky tabs that I have are pretty wimpy than they were to begin with. However, I'm not even halfway through the book and I'm nearly out of my pink tabs, meaning there have been just too many things that I've liked, too many descriptions that I wanted to highlight. So I'm going to have to get myself some more tabs, or I'm gonna have to switch up my colors because I've barely used the orange. I'll just have to find some more of these. It was a very lovely night reading, read for like a solid 2 or so hours, so I'm going to bed happy, and I will check in with you again tomorrow. Hello, real quick check-in. I'm about to go on my lunch break, but I just wanted to, give a little update for my reading. I did bring The Night Circus with me to read on my lunch break. However, the audiobook that I listen to when I am working is almost finished, so I'm probably just gonna listen to that all through my lunch break. And the book that I'm listening to is called The Summer Hours at the Robbers Library by Sue Halpern. And I gotta tell ya, I'm not loving it so far, but it's just something to listen to while I work. So I'm gonna go get my lunch, listen on my lunch break, and when I finish, I'll tell you my thoughts. Hello. It's hours later. I am home from work. I have, as you can probably see, I have exercised. I suppose I should tell you about the book that I listened to. My system is that the books that I listen to at work are typically books that I don't really care an awful lot about. They're really just something for me to have on in the background, kind of like a podcast, but more engaging. And it's a nice way to listen to some of the romances I hear about, things like that. And today, the book that I listened to, but it was Summer Hours in the Robbers Library. And I started out liking it. I actually had pretty high hopes for it. It was something that I had borrowed from the library and my dad had read when we were at the beach together a few weeks ago. And he was like, yeah, it's a good book, you know, nothing fancy, just kind of a fun, fluffy thing. And I was like, okay, cool. Perfect audiobook for when I'm at work. And today, when I was listening to it, I just kept finding myself getting angrier and angrier. I'll try to go about this in a non-spoilery way. So if you're interested in reading the book, go ahead and pick it up. I'm not going to stop you. But the reason why I didn't like it, it felt like there were just details in the book that didn't make sense about the characters. The characters just kind of felt shallow to me. It's like the main character was a librarian, and she had just gotten out of a bad marriage, and that was like her whole personality. And then there's like this teen who, the way the book starts is this teenager steals a dictionary from a big bookstore like Barnes & Noble or something like that. And she is sentenced to serve 40 hours a week for her whole summer volunteering at her local library, which that honestly sounds like a cool book. It's like a misfits coming together sort of story. It sounded like a lot of fun, but right off the bat, I was like, 40 hours a week for stealing a dictionary? That sounds like some Les Miserables stuff, but who am I to judge? This is a fun book. It doesn't have to be that complicated. But the more that we get into the book, the more it just doesn't make sense. There's different points of view that are going on. There's the teenager, and she also has like these weird off-the-grid hippie parents. She has a whole backstory. We have like the marriage story, which is the story of the head librarian. And then we have the story of this guy who, this book was published in 2018, but it kind of read like it was written in 2010 because he lost his job, I'm thinking, in something like the recession. And so we had his whole backstory about how he found this bank book from his grandmother, and since he has fallen onto hard times, he has to track down this money from his grandmother, but the bank doesn't exist, but his grandmother was adopted, and all this stuff. Every detail of the book just sounded contrived. It just didn't gel. It just didn't really work for me. I won't spoil it. I didn't love the ending. It ended way too quickly, in my opinion. It was one of those deals where I was listening to the audiobook and I'm working. So it's like I'm paying attention to the story, but I'm doing my work. And I just like, I'm hearing the story and I'm paying attention. And I'm like, wait, this sounds like a lot is happening really fast. And I look at the app. I listen to this book on Scribd, and I look at the app and there's like 2 minutes left in the book. And excuse me? I was so surprised. It just ended so quickly. Thank you for listening to me rant. This is like the third time I've talked about it. My husband got an earful when we got home from work. I think you saw in my little catalog where I put everything I read and all of the stats and whatnot. In that clip you saw, I rated it a 1.5. 1.5. And maybe that's just because I was angry when I finished the book and I put it in my book catalog, but I don't think I'm gonna bump it up higher than that. I'm sorry if this is a book that you liked. Please know that whenever I talk negatively about a book, this is just my opinion. As everybody's opinions about books are, I'm sure there are people out there who hate the books that I love. So it's all subjective. Frustrating times, and excited to jump back into fun books later.
There's 3 different levels, like top, bottom, and then a side.
Coming to you live. Look how cute it is. The little stumps. And there's little kids' books. Kids' books. Okay. Hopefully it's not too windy and you can hear me. But I had a great day today. It's a new day. I went to go to a whole bunch of little libraries with my friend Maddie and my new friend Val. It was so much fun, but I got a fantastic haul and I thought I would just show you what I got. We went to, look at all those. That's big spider. No, get away from me. Okay, I watched the spider move at least 12 feet away. I think it's building a little spider web in the corner of my porch. That's fine, I don't go in that corner. He can live there as long as he stays there. Better stay. So I'm gonna do this haul quick and then I'm hauling my ass inside. So what we did, we went to a bunch of little libraries. We kind of like, it was hit or miss. Near the end of our journey, we found a few that were really good. And is it coming back? Let's do this. So we did the little libraries. We went to the bookstore at one point. We went to one that has like new and used books. And I got a couple things there. We also went to Salvation Army and I got a book there. And I also got my book of the month pick that I'm super excited about. So what should I do first? I think I'll go in order of what I found. So the first book that I got at Salvation Army is an Alice Munro collection of stories. I've never read any of her books, but I've been really curious about them. I already have one that I got, I think, at a library sale. I'm excited to maybe pick this up, just read a story in between a book or two. Oh, look how cute she looks there in the back. Look how sweet. I don't know why I was just struck by that. But yeah, I was with my friend Maddie, as I'm sure I said. I'm all flustered now, I'm sorry. She said that this is her favorite collection of Alice Munro's, so I had to pick it up. A lot of these books, there's a running theme, or things that Maddie recommended that I was like, okay, why not? Let's pick it up. So there's that one from Salvation Army. And then when I was also at Salvation Army, there was a copy of The Night Circus that I also bought because it was on sale, and I traded that in along with some other books that I unhauled to give to the little libraries, and I'll show you what I got from those now. This is another book that my friend Maddie said was really good, The Water Dancer. She said that she loved this book. I had never really heard of it before, although the cover does look kind of familiar. And this is a really nice cover. It's like a hardback, so I'm excited about this one. She said she loved it, and we have pretty similar tastes in books, so I have very high hopes for this one when I do get around to it. Is King of Battle and Blood. This is like a big book on TikTok right now, so I figure, you know, it looks interesting. It's about a girl who tries to assassinate a vampire king. I do feel like Carrie from Carrie Cakes read this. I forget if she either really liked it or really hated it. Who knows? But hey, I'll give it a shot. And it seems like fun. It just seems like an interesting sort of fantasy. So yeah, I'm excited to pick that one up, and I like that cover too. I feel like there's a lot of covers like this right now. This was another little library pick. It is Becoming Jane Eyre, and it just seems like it's a novel about the Bronte sisters. I've never heard of this before, but I thought it looked really good, and I really loved the cover. I thought the cover was really special and super cool. So yeah, just thought I'd pick that one up. I was getting a little desperate at one point. I was like, okay, this one sounds good. And then next, we went to the bookstore, like I said, and these are the two things that I got. So first, I thought this was really funny. This is a copy of Wuthering Heights that I remember when these came out. It was when Twilight was in the height of its popularity in like 2010 or 2011. And I remember they were releasing these classics that were like, they had a little bit of a Twilight vibe. And I remember there's the other books on the back. It's Pride and Prejudice and Romeo and Juliet. I'm pretty sure back in the day I bought the Romeo and Juliet. I think this is the copy of Romeo and Juliet I had when I was a kid. And I saw this and I was like, I feel like I just have to get this just for the vibes, you know? This is my first Isabel Allende. I think that's how you pronounce her name. I'm so sorry if I mispronounced it. It's the daughter of Fortune. It seems like it's a historical fiction set in the 1840s during the gold rush. So I thought that sounded really cool. I've heard nothing but good things about this author, so super excited to dip into this at some point. It's a nice mass market too. I really like this size just because it's easy to carry and pop in your bag. So yeah, excited about that. And then when I came home, I found my Book of the Month box, and I thought I would show you my pick for July. It's Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. And I don't know if this video will be out by the time that this video is out. We'll have to see. But I talked about this release in the video I filmed for the mid-year freakout tag. This was one of the new releases that I was most excited about, mostly because Gabrielle Zevin is the author of The Storied Life of A.J. Fickery, which was one of my favorite books from last year. I loved it so much. I feel like she's one of those authors that whenever they release a book, I'll buy it immediately, as I did for this. So I just love the cover too. Isn't that cool? So yeah, that's an exciting thing. I am super excited about all these books. I need to read more of The Night Circus tonight. I haven't read the last couple days just because, you know, life gets busy. But I got a notification from Libby that I only have like 2 more days before I have to relinquish the audiobook to somebody else. So I'm really gonna see if I can try to knock this book out before the audiobook expires. I'm gonna see if it's possible. I really hope so. I'm also kind of bummed that I didn't get to finish The Night Circus and Anne of Green Gables before June 1st. Today is June 1st, and it is when the Summer Splash Challenge starts. So I don't really want to like start the TBR that I have until I finish those books. So we'll have to see what I end up doing. If I can't finish The Night Circus before I have to give up the audiobook and put it on hold again, that's fine. I'll just finish it near the end of the month, and then I'll probably finish Anne of Green Gables and count it towards something for the Summer Splash bingo board. And then I'm probably after that gonna start reading Book Lovers by Emily Henry for Morgan Long's Patreon book club. So that's gonna be a fun one. I've been looking forward to reading that ever since I got it. Yeah, that's what I have coming up. I'm gonna be reading more tonight. I'm probably gonna go exercise, cook dinner, wash dishes because I have a huge amount of unwashed dishes that I need to cut down a little bit. Tomorrow is Saturday. I do have a couple things that I need to do, a couple errands, but then I am going to be reading. And I'm just enjoying sitting outside, watching our spider friend ruin my life and walk all over my house. Hello friends! I've struggled a lot with my mental health the last few days. I felt really anxious and just kind of battled some anxious thoughts and things like that. So needless to say, I haven't read very much, which is the sad thing. I feel like when I get really anxious and really just really struggling, I don't read as much as I would like. So it is now the 3rd of July. The 4th of July is tomorrow. We're already a few days into the month, and I really want to get started on my Summer Splash TBR. So I had to return my Night Circus audiobook. I'm gonna finish Anne of Green Gables, but I'll probably finish it in the next reading vlog. So I'm sorry this vlog was kind of all over the place. I apologize for that, but I hope that, you know, you enjoyed the little reflections here and there. I'm definitely gonna be finishing Night Circus, so maybe in a few weeks I'll post more about it or just post my final thoughts after I finish it finally and when I get the audiobook back. But before I close out this vlog, I did want to do my June brackets with you. If you follow me on Instagram, which I hope you are, it's at the Ginger Introvert. What I've been doing is I've been doing brackets of all my favorite books that I've read so far, and then by the end of the year I will have picked my favorite book of the year through the bracket system. So, sorry, I said that in a really weird way, but I'm gonna take a look at my spreadsheet. I like track all the books that I've read each month in a spreadsheet. I'm gonna take a look and I'm gonna pick my favorite book of June. So I'm gonna look at my spreadsheet here of all the books I've read so far. I kind of color code which month is which. And in the month of June, I read 7 books. So I'm gonna read them off. I read Nights in Rodanthe, The Summer I Turned Pretty, The Perks of Being a Wallflower, The Sea of Monsters, which is the second Percy Jackson book, Milk-Fed, hated, Beach Read, loved, Summer Hours at the Robbers Library, also hated. So out of all of these, I think the two that I'm torn between are Beach Read by Emily Henry and The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Scherbatsky. Hope I pronounced that right. And I think, honestly, I have to choose Beach Read. I really, really loved Perks of Being a Wallflower and rereading that because that was like a childhood favorite book of mine, or at least like favorite book from my teenage years. I'm gonna put Beach Read in my bracket. It's actually a pretty pivotal point in the brackets where June, if I make Beach Read the June pick, it goes up against Almond, which is my current reigning favorite of this like 3-month chunk of the year. And if choosing between Almond and Beach Read for a favorite book, I'm gonna have to pick Almond. And then Almond is pitted against There's No Such Thing as an Easy Job. And choosing my favorite between those two, I think I'd have to go with Almond. I hate to say it because I did read There's No Such Thing as an Easy Job a few months ago. Maybe it's just because I have fresher memories of Almond, but that book was just so, it hit me so hard. I feel like I just enjoyed that book so much. I feel like it made me think more than There's No Such Thing as an Easy Job, although I really loved that book as well. So I think that's my current reigning favorite from the first part of the year, because as you can see, when I choose my final favorite book of the year, it's gonna be between Almond and what I read in the last half of the year. So I'm excited to see what I read at the end of the year. Hopefully I'll be able to read as much as I have been next semester. I'm really excited to see what the last half of the year brings. Thank you so much for watching this really random video. I apologize, I feel like this was all over the place. I didn't end up finishing the books that I wanted to finish when I was filming this video. I'm kind of diving into July with a little bit of disappointment in myself, not finishing the books that I wanted to finish, but sometimes life just happens and you lose your audiobook hold and you have to wait 5 more weeks to finish it up again. So I'm going to start another reading week in my life. I'm gonna be starting my TBR for the Summer Splash Readathon and working on the bingo board for that. I'm so excited for it. I think it's gonna be so much fun. Wait, don't go just yet. Don't go just yet. I have another little something to share with you. This is me coming from my editing chair. I am here. I had to pull this video off YouTube I discovered way after I had posted it that there was a big black chunk that I had to resolve and re-edit the end. And then, fortuitously, my dad submitted a little clip explaining why he liked summer hours at the Robbers Library, and I thought that I would include that for you here. I feel like it's always good to have two different sides to the story. You know, I didn't like the book. That doesn't necessarily mean that other people didn't. My dad really liked it, so I asked him to share why. So I'm gonna insert that clip here, and then I will come right back afterwards.
Hi, my name is Joseph. My favorite YouTube content creator, who happens to be my daughter, asked me to say a little something about this book, Summer Hours at Robbers Library. She and I differ on this book, and it's interesting. I think the main reason why we differ is that the protagonist in the book is much closer to my age than hers, and is struggling with the same kinds of things that somebody my age might struggle with. We're not somebody who's 20-something. There's a lot to like about this book, but it's not the protagonist. The protagonist, Kit, who works in a library, is a very Updike-like character. She's not somebody you're gonna like. Especially early in Updike's career when he was writing Rabbit Run with Harry Angstrom. Harry Angstrom isn't somebody that you're going to have over for a summer cookout. Neither's Kit, but she grows a lot. And then there's the young person who's thrown into the library and kind of stirs up the mix. Her name's Sunny. She's there because she stole a dictionary, and she has to do volunteer hours to make up her community time. All these literary things keep hitting again and again and again. The young person's name is Sunny. There's one chair at Kit's dining room table. She's very happy being alone. All these heavy-handed literary techniques are in place, and yet I liked Robert's Library, and I would recommend it.
So I hope you enjoyed that clip. Leave a like or comment down below if you think my dad should have his own booktube channel. I think that he did really well. So Dad, I know you're watching. You should start a booktube channel. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And yeah, see you next time. Bye.